Greetings, welcome to week 1, unit 4 on accreditation. In the earlier unit, we reviewed how engineering programs are organized in India. Now we will look at, we try to understand the nature of accreditation of engineering programs and higher education institutes in India. Now, accreditation, to define it formally, is a process of quality assurance and improvement whereby a program in an approved institution is critically appraised to verify that the institution or the program continues to meet and or exceed the norms and standards prescribed by the regulator from time to time. After all, an educational institution is a social institution because it has to be connected with the rest of the society. People have to come from school, parents will have to send their wards to these institutes, and the graduates of this program will have to be either employed or they proceed further to other higher education institutions and so on. To that extent, you have to assure to all your stakeholders that the institution is performing its activity continuously and also continuously improving. It's a kind of recognition which indicates that a program or institution fulfills certain standards. So, what is when you say a program is accredited, it means that you are fulfilling certain minimum standards. It is not restrictive on you that you should not further improve. Okay? And in fact, you have to demonstrate that you are continuously improving. Engineering programs are accredited in India by the NBA, National Board of Accreditation, whereas higher education institutions are accredited by the NAAC. Institutional accreditation is different from a program accreditation. For example, in a given institution, a specific programs may or may not be accredited. Okay. Overall, the institution may be accredited. Now, to trace the history a little bit, accreditation of engineering programs can be traced to Engineers Council for Professional Development, EPCD, which was established in 1932 in the USA. EPCD was an engineering professional body dedicated to the education, accreditation, regulation, and professional development of the engineering professionals and students in the United States. EPCD in 1980 was renamed as Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. But today, they don't want to expand ABET. It is simply known as ABET. We should not expand ABET as Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. Okay. Now they don't expand the title. Now, we have explained in our when we were tracing the history of engineering education that EC 2000 was formulated by ABET. Engineering Accreditation Commission, EAC of ABET, it's a body of like you can say NBA of AICTE. EAC of ABET developed a new set of criteria for accreditation of engineering programs. They are known as EC 2000. With EC 2000, focus shifted to outcomes. So you can say EC 2000 as defined as its main framework is outcome-based education. Today, the spirit of EC 2000 can be found in the evaluation criteria of nearly all accreditation boards and degree programs around the world. So there is some kind of uniformity is coming around. Programs and not educational institutions are considered for accreditation by the NBA. ABET initiated and became the founding member of Washington Accord. Washington Accord it's called Washington Accord because the accord was signed in Washington. There were similar criteria called Dublin Accord and Sydney Accord and so on. They were signed in those cities. So the Washington Accord was signed in Washington. In 1989, it got started. Initial signatories are about 6: USA, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. Presently, there are 25 permanent members, including India. And there are some countries which are still in observer status, and hopefully they will also become members of the permanent members of Washington Accord. Washington Accord recognizes the substantial equivalence of programs accredited by member bodies. It recommends that graduates of programs accredited by any of the signatory bodies be recognized by the other bodies as having met the academic requirements for entry to the practice of engineering in the area of their jurisdiction. That is a formal a statement, you can say. So it led to easier and global mobility of engineering graduates. People can move from one country to the other and still work on projects or can become permanent employees of organizations of that country. Incidentally, even though India was only signatory after 2014, Indian graduates enjoyed their movement across various countries. They were able to practice their profession because those countries were courteous enough to accept engineering graduates from India. Now, NBA, the National Board of Accreditation, India broadly follows EC 2000 criteria. The 2025 version follows much more closely the criteria of Washington Accord. Now, National Board of Accreditation, which we mentioned a little in the previous unit, was established in the year 1994 under Section 10U of AICTE Act. The NBA became autonomous in January 2010. But a Memorandum of Association and Rules of the NBA were amended in April 2013 to make it administratively as well as financially independent of AICTE. And then India became a permanent member of Washington Accord in 2014. The NBA since 2015 requires that engineering programs are conducted in the framework of outcome-based education. So we come formally to a certain state now where engineering programs have to be conducted in the framework of outcome-based education. Coming to accreditation, the NBA requires for an institution seeking accreditation for its engineering programs to submit a self-assessment report to the NBA. Generally, what the rule is, which may keep changing from time to time, that at any given time, an institution can apply for accreditation of 5 programs together, not more than 5 at a time. That is purely some kind of administrative convenience, because they have to constitute committees for peer reviews and to bring so many people at a given time, there can be certain restrictions. So at any given time 5 programs. The SAR, or what we call self-assessment report, is a compilation of such data and information pertaining to a given program for its assessment, identifying strengths and weaknesses vis-a-vis accomplishment of NBA-defined POs and PSOs by the program. That is, you have to prepare SAR in a particular format to self-assess to what extent you have attained POs and PSOs of the program. Each department will have to prepare data. Formats we will be talking about at a later unit, but ultimately you have to demonstrate that the POs and PSOs of the program have been satisfactorily attained. And the self-assessment report has two parts. Part A seeks institutional and departmental information. Broadly, how many students you have, what is the nature of the institution, and how many seats do you have, how many what percentage of seats have been taken by the students, and so on. So there is a lot of institutional and departmental information that you have to provide in part A. Whereas part B seeks information on 9 criteria. These are outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based teaching and learning, outcome-based assessment, students' performance, faculty information, faculty contributions, facilities and technical support, continuous improvement, and student support and governance. These are the 9 criteria. These have been completely different versions from the earlier version of the part B. As you can see, everywhere you have outcome-based curriculum, teaching and learning, and assessment. All the 3 aspects will have to be in the framework of outcome-based. NBA reconfirms or differs from the assessment of the institution using the mechanism of peer review in its evaluation report. That is, department prepares the report exhaustively. They submit electronically to the NBA. NBA forms a peer committee with faculty taken from different institutions, experts from the same area of whatever program that you are seeking accreditation, and they will be shown the report electronically, and they will actually come and talk to faculty, students, and look at the facilities, and over 3 days they will debate, they will talk to all the concerned people and prepare a report. That is peer committee report. Now these criteria and weightages are as given. Outcome-based education, they slightly differ between tier 1 and tier 2, but practically they are the same. Outcome-based curriculum carries 120 marks. Outcome-based teaching and learning carries 120. Outcome-based assessment 120. Students' performance 120. Faculty information 100. Faculty contributions 120. Facilities and technical support 100. Continuous improvement 80. And at institutional level criteria, student support and governance 120. Altogether they add up to 1000 marks. India has chosen to follow what is called Malcolm Baldrige method of quality evaluation. That is, you identify the total marks are 1000, and these are distributed over several criteria. How many criteria an organization need to have is their choice. It depends on their nature of activities, what they think are the priorities, but altogether you identify a number like 1000. Out of 1000, how many marks do you get? Based on that, the final accreditation choices are what do you call, whether you are accredited or at a higher level, lower level, is all done based on how the program has been performing across all these criteria. Coming to NAAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. It was established in 1994, as we mentioned, as an autonomous institution of UGC. It is presently headquartered in Bangalore, whereas UGC is headquartered in Delhi, whereas NBA as well as AICTE are headquartered in Delhi. NAAC is responsible for accrediting higher education institutions under three categories: universities, autonomous institutes, and affiliated institutions. Their categorization is different. They expect university needs to be, for it to be accredited, not only their programs have to be run, they have to fulfill many more. It's functionally, it has many more activities. Okay. And the assessment and accreditation framework was effective from July 2017, but it is being reviewed and modified, and the next version is not yet published. So we can only look at the features of the new NAAC accreditation criteria, but the details we will have to wait for a later date. The assessment process of NAAC consists of three main components. Self-study, that means you have to present in the self-study part very detailed, you have several what do you call indicators and metrics, key indicators and metrics. Each one will have to be converted into some kind of a quantitative information, which will be verified through specially designed software. And then you also perform student satisfaction survey. It is by a third party, that is other than NAAC. They will ask another party to conduct the student satisfaction survey, and then a peer committee is constituted, which will visit the institution of concern, and they will give their report. Okay. Now, though the final numbers, as we mentioned, are not yet out, but self-study report carries very significant percentage, almost you can say 70% weightage. And a small percentage weightage is given to student satisfaction survey, and the remaining one is to the peer team report. What we know at present, the 7 criteria for assessment of higher education institution is called Quality Indicator Framework. These are curricular aspects, teaching, learning and evaluation, research, innovations and extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, institutional values and best practices. There are a number of key indicators under each criterion. KIs are, that is, key indicators, are further delineated as metrics. You may have something like total number of metrics could be of the order of something like about 90, or maybe we do not know, the new ones may have a little more or a little less. Okay. Okay, that is broadly. We cannot give the final version of the NAAC accreditation in this course, but the information, once it is made available, it will be accessible to all the institutions. And the next section, next unit, will present more features of outcome-based education. And thank you for your attention.